So, coming up this June the 26th to July the 11th, Mercury will be moving through the sign of Cancer and doing something very special and quite intense and really interesting. He's going to come into a Cazimi at the very beginning of his ingress into the sign of Cancer. He will join the sun at 9 degrees of Cancer, and it's going to be quite the event because at the same time he forms relationships that are flowing to both Jupiter and Saturn. That's going to bring something going on in our lives. It's very positive individually and collectively. And as well, he's sitting with an asteroid called Shiva, the destroyer, and two very powerful and positive stars, Mirzam and Alhena. We're going to dive into what that might mean for the collective and then for you as you look at this from the viewpoint of your rising sign, sun and moon sign. But you know, your rising sign is most likely most accurate. So let's just remind ourselves of that. Hey, if you're new to my channel, my name is Lori Lothy, and I'm a whole sign house astrologer using the Western tropical zodiac, not sidereal. I love minor asteroids. I try to bring them into as many conversations as I can, along with the fixed stars. Stars that are fixed are just what we call stars in the sky. You want to know what I'm up to? You can check below, but I also have a webinar for this Cazimi. It's just too good not to harness it. It's free. It's going to be happening on July 1st because this Cazimi event is going to be on July 1st. It kind of brackets the 30th of June, late at night, all the way through the daytime of July 1st. And so if you want to learn how to use this Cazimi, how to harness this magical divine download, perceptual portal that happens when Mercury is in the heart of the sun, then you might want to sign up for that free webinar. There'll be a replay. So if you can't come live with me on July 1st to do it, you'll get a copy of the webinar that which will not be put into the public sphere. So to be a part of that, you must sign up. And the link to that is in the description box below. Also append the link to that in the top of the comments. If I forget, someone remind me. Okay, so let's talk about this whole story right now. Let me just show you the sky as well, so you know what it looks like and you can see it for yourself. Mercury moves through the sign of Cancer, guys, every single year. So this is nothing new. And so here he is going through the sign of Cancer yet again. He ingresses into Cancer on June the 26th, and he's there until July the 11th. This is the time of year where Mercury is working in the sign that belongs to the moon, doing his best. He's in what we call a mute sign, and he's also invisible because as he approaches the sun on June 26, he's so close that we can't see him. And this is also what we call a mute sign. And so he's not speaking. He's actually operating through more intuition, emotions, inner voices, and all of that. So it may not be very news cycle-y like he can do in other signs, especially in his home signs of Virgo and Gemini. He was just leaving his own Gemini home sign, and a lot of big news stories had been breaking. Now, as Mercury comes into this part of the sky, you'll notice that there is an asteroid that he meets up with. Her name is Juno, and Juno is the goddess of marriage and commitment, but she's also the goddess of moneta, money, as one of her meanings, as well as involved in military tribunals and guiding and advising for military purposes in the ancient world. So we can also make the argument that military and monetary elements are active, as well as committed love actions and stories. Now he's going to touch down. I just want you to see this. I'm going to go backwards in the sky with this. Just watch what happens. If I go back a couple of days, and you can see that as he first comes into this part of the sky, that he will basically touch down with Juno. Okay, here he's at 2.5 degrees on June 27th. So the 27th and 28th, Mercury Juno, if we went with military, could be secret negotiations for a contract or a commitment to end a war, for example. Also, it could be secret conversations going on around currencies, around money, around coin, maybe even things to do with digital banking currencies and stuff, central bank digital currencies. But whatever it's about, it's flowing to institutional Saturn, who likes things to be orderly and have rules and to be structured and institutional. And so there's a potential there for that kind of thing to be going on, but rather quietly. Now, you see that Jupiter is sitting here in Taurus. The South Node, North Node are pretty close by the way. So maybe I should have drawn that in so you can see Rahu, Ketu in the sky. Let's just add them. I don't know why I didn't include the North South Node, but we can always add them now, right? And we'll come back to you and see if I'm sharing again. Am I sharing? I am. And so now we have in the sky Again, Mercury is in a flow to the north and south node axis as he first enters into this part of the sky, kind of bringing some sort of sweet energy to what has been the turbulent areas of eclipses through Scorpio and Taurus since the first out of sign eclipse that happened back in November of 2021. The very last such eclipse is in Taurus on October 28th. This looks like a very soft spot in the sky as Mercury flows to the nodes of fate, but also to Jupiter. I mean, come on, Jupiter's Santa Claus and Mercury's talking to Santa Claus. They actually, in Greek mythology, were not particularly friendly nor unfriendly. Sometimes Mercury was deking out Jupiter and breaking the rules, like the trickster he can be, but he also did work for Jupiter and do things that Jupiter ordered him to do. So here we have Mercury, the messenger of the gods, in a connection to Jupiter that's called a sextile. And that's a flowing and lucky angle, while he is also building towards that trine with Saturn. This creates like a mini grand trine in the sky. If we were to look at the nodes of fate, we could create a kite here as well. And if you like to add the nodes, then we have a success kite in the sky. So let me show you as this gets more toward the actual perfection of the 9-degree Cazimi day. Now, as we get to 9 degrees, we're kind of moving away from what I would really want to focus on as a kite, but you could still say that there is a kite here. And so what we have is a triangle right here, a mini grand trine between Jupiter and the North Node, expanding Jupiter's goodness, hopefully, and the sextile to Mercury from Jupiter and Saturn to Jupiter, and then Saturn trining Mercury sun. That's Mercury in the heart of the sun. So here's the thing. Mercury in the heart of the sun is like a divine download, an insight, a new instruction that we can get. A new seed can be planted from a divine orchestration in our lives. Mercury is consorting with the king. He is having a time out. He's getting ready to be born again in the heart of the sun. So he can come out the other side of the sun and be a visible planet eventually within a couple of weeks later. And in this case, he'll be a visible planet as an evening star. And he's coming into the heart of the sun as a morning star, or visible in the morning hours before the sun rises. So he's having a death and rebirth experience is what I'm saying. And when he gets into the heart of the sun, he has a powwow with King Sol, the divine intelligence of the universe and of the solar system at the very least, and he gets some new mission instructions. So where in your life are you having this Cazimi? Because you have 6 Cazimis every year. This is one of them in different parts of the sky. You're getting a divine download, a new direction, a new mission instruction when Mercury enters the heart of the sun. But he's also on Shiva, the destroyer, the asteroid that is known for burning down what no longer is needed so that something fresh and new can grow. So we have preserver, creator, destroyer in the trinity of the Hindu mythology. It's also divine masculine energy, obviously. We can also make a point here that the star Mirzam, the announcer star, is sitting with Mercury sun. This is, having a message you wish to announce to the world. I find that ironic because, and, doing well in that announcer role. I have to think of a bullhorn. But Mercury's going to have to announce something very softly because he's in that mute sign Cancer, and he's not prone to big bursts of news cycle stories usually. However, Cancer can represent home, homeland, nurturing, motherhood, birthing people, also known as women. And so maybe there's going to be some news stories about those elements of reality during this Cazimi or just after it. Juno, the goddess of money, military stuff, as well as marriage commitments, is also germane to whatever may be hatching in this part of your sky. Now, I'm doing a whole webinar on this, really. I mean, we're going to really talk about the stars in depth, because also we have Alhena, the poet, performer, a truth seeker, pleaser, social butterfly star sitting on Mercury as well. Especially the word truth seeker is grabbing my attention on that one. So we got 2 powerful stars and Shiva the destroyer, but we also have other elements playing out here as well. For example, I'm just going back to my notes on this for the webinar, and then we're going to do all signs, and we're going to go quickly. All of my Mercury videos are fleet-footed and fast-moving, as is Mercury. I don't linger with these ones. So this is not a long video. It may be 45 minutes. So we'll be whipping through your sign. But also I would like you to take note of the fact that we also have Saturn sitting on asteroid Gonggong at the time of this particular perfect little mini triangle forming in the sky, or kite held by the south node if we include the kite backbone is north node, south node. And Saturn on Gonggong. Well, Gonggong is a Chinese water god, a sea serpent with a human head, and the body of a serpent and a head of a human. And it's usually connected to cosmic catastrophes. Now, it is in a trine and a flow from that place with Saturn to Mercury. So it can be a positive resolution from a cosmic catastrophe. There could be calamitous events going on to do with water bodies as well. Saturn in water bodies, droughts, tidal waves, floods, hardship around water. We've seen a lot of hardship around water, guys. We've seen those poor people on that boat in Greece capsizing. Hundreds of lives are lost, tragedy on water. Saturn is in a water sign, Pisces, until 2026 with Neptune, the sea god, there. So expect maybe some resolution of some ongoing story or news story about hardships with water that may come to a positive resolution. It's possible as this Cazimi unfolds on July 1st and onward. This water god is also about tuning into the soul of a group or finding the soul of humanity and what that soul of humanity needs on a healing level. Well, given this is happening in Pisces and there's a trine to watery Neptune sun in Cancer, this all has that vibe of like a spiritual feel-good type of event or story that could play out. Now, Jupiter is on Minerva. Minerva is a powerful goddess of wisdom and knowledge, and she's all about that energy of wise, all-knowing wisdom, etc., from the feminine perspective. Jupiter embodies wisdom and knowledge anyway, so then you've got to double down on the vibe of that wisdom and knowledge factor. Now, White Moon, Selene, conjunct Salacia is also sitting with Jupiter. The White Moon is it with Jupiter? I better double check. No, I think she's in Aries. Why did I think she was there? Sorry. Let me add her to the software because I'm looking at my notes for the webinar. So I apologize. Let's add White Moon Selene to the story. She is with Salacia. I'm not going to draw in Salacia, but they're beside each other in the sky. There's the White Moon. Where are you? There we go. White Moon Selene is sitting down here, right? Sitting down here at 10 degrees of Aries, and the Cazimi is at 9 degrees. There's a square to Salacia, the god of, well, first of all, the ability to go to the unseen depths, to go into the hidden realms, very mysterious, trancey, like sea god, sea nymph energy. She was the wife eventually of Neptune. And she is in a flow to this, in a direct angle, a square to this Cazimi. But she brings, White Moon Selene brings a ray of divine light into the world. Kind of like, let's shear through the darkness with some kind of divine energy, some kind of bright spot in the dark place called life and reality and hardship. And so I like that a lot, especially because at the time of the Cazimi, the moon is busy traveling through the sign of Sagittarius and is also in a flow herself, the moon, to the White Moon Selene and to this Cazimi. The White Moon is a math point opposite Black Moon Lilith, and it's not an actual planetary body. But because this is an event happening in the moon's temple, both the lunar position, moon in Sagittarius, and the White Moon position is, I think, somewhat germane. I think there's something going on with a bit of a bright spot ray of light by that lunar flow to the White Moon Selene. And that for the collective could be about war, for example, because White Moon Selene is in the sign of Aries, which is all about war. And there is a whole sign trine to Venus, the goddess of peace, next to the god of war in Leo. So I can make an argument, maybe this Cazimi is trying to percolate a peace treaty in poor, war-torn Ukraine. My heart goes out to everyone, including Russian boys and Russian soldiers, including Ukrainian boys and men who lost their lives, not to mention civilians. But it's a stupid war, and it's already realized the world is tired of it. So we may be seeing a kind of bright light, a spot of light coming in and dispensing with that energy and curing or healing a war that has ailed us all. And will it be the end of war? Not at all. Get ready for the Taiwan problem next, I'm sure. And at the time of the Cazimi, I wanted to see how Black Moon Lilith was doing up here. And the Black Moon is sitting in Leo. So yeah, and that is also in a flow trine to the lunation, the moon over here. That is a waxing gibbous moon. It's trying to get full, but it's not quite there yet. So there's a lot of energy of that moon reaching for fullness in the 2 days that follow the Cazimi. And once that moon is full, it's going to be a full moon in Capricorn. So then we may be looking at issues to do with governments, power structures, top-down power structures, financial markets, etc. But I like the vibe of the chart. Mostly, I think there could be announcements about the end of the war. But if there's any water calamities besides what we've already seen, including the submersible, talk about Saturn and Neptune in Pisces, right? You gotta admit that's pretty crazy, right? Saturn and Neptune in Pisces, and we end up with a submersible lost at sea. For the Titanic story, we end up with a capsized boat with a tragic loss of death in near Greece of refugees. And then now we also, who knows what can happen between my recording this for you pretty soon. This is the 24th of June. The Mercury ingress is the 26th. The Cazimi is coming up. And so I'm recording this for you. A Patreon community gets it ad-free before I know what new hardship on water story, drought, floods, tidal waves, issues with water could come up in our world. Water tanker, oil tank spill in the water, anything is possible. But I kind of feel like the world needs a happy ending story. I didn't think we were going to get it from the submersible. I talked with my partner about this. It's about fragility and nobility. That's like Sully Sullenberger landing a plane with a broken engine in the Hudson River. We all love that nobility and fragility combination. There is no fragility, nobility, however, in the way that a lot of people looked at the wealthy taking risks to go under the water for $250,000 ticket, doing something that's exceedingly dangerous. Like, I'm going to go bungee jumping, off of a cliff with unproven rope structures. So there was a lot of people I talked to during the submersible event who also didn't feel it would have a happy ending, but who also felt like, not to say anyone deserved it. No one deserves to die in a deep pressure implosion. Although according to a mortician online, that would be instant death, but rather that we couldn't get behind it as a kind of a tragic loss thing. You know how it is when these boys were trapped in Thailand and the caves were flooding and they were on a hiking or they were on a school trip, and then all these divers went in to rescue them, and one diver lost his life and all of that, and they made a movie about it. That's nobility and fragility. All right, stories of firefighters running in to save victims, nobility and fragility. And this story didn't have it, but who's to say that in the wake of this Cazimi, because it can be a couple of weeks for Venus to be visible, we don't see a very nobility, fragility, epic, positive story appearing in the sky that could be very a ray of light for the world. I'm really hoping for that, because sometimes those stories can bring a sense of unity amongst peoples when we feel a sense of discord and difficulty amongst peoples. 9/11 could have done that for us, but it didn't. The U.S. decided to fabricate a war, but there was a lot of empathy and sympathy and heart pouring outness for Americans, even from people from rival nations in the wake of 9/11. Fragility, nobility, this firemen who lost their lives and raced in to save people. Okay, let's go through all signs. I promise you, this is no more than 30 more minutes. So if you're all settled in with a cup of tea, I'm just going to highlight the idea of where the Cazimi download is happening. I'm not going to talk about the Jupiter and the Saturn bit. That's in my webinar. And if you don't think you can be there, it doesn't matter. I'll be talking about the meaning of that for all signs, and I'll be giving you some hacks to use the Cazimi on that day. It's going to be in the morning of July 1st. I think I scheduled it for maybe 9 or 10 a.m. Pacific time. All the information's in the link. Just sign up for it, and then you're going to get the replay anyway. And therefore, you'll get the content whether or not you're able to attend live. All right. So let's go through all signs. I think I'll keep the chart up because it's easy for my sister to timestamp. And when you're watching in the live replay, just take a look at the side that's over here. That's the side, that's the rising sign. That's who I'm starting with. I go sun, moon, and a rising. That's what I'm doing. I didn't mean to do it that way. So let's go back to the right Cazimi day, and then let's move it to the hour. So basically, if you come into the live premiere and go, where's Lori? Just look to this side over here, what sign we're on. Second of all, timestamps and chapters are here. You can just click on the timestamps in the description box or in the comments or the chapters, etc., and you can go straight to your sign. So that's why my sister's timestamping us for us. Okay, let's start off with Aries, sun, moon, and rising, especially rising sign. Oh, and if you're on the live premiere, hit that like button for me. Thank you. So if you're an Aries, sun, moon, and rising, what we have going on here is we have the energy of a new download, divine insight, something coming through your fourth house of property, home, land, and real estate. You can harness the powers of fixed star Mirzam, an announcement about or from your home, or truth seeker Alhena's here as well. And what is it you're wanting to do? Could you be very downloading a divine idea, an insight, a project, a creative project in and from your home? Yeah, maybe. Things to do with contracts and commitments regarding property, land, home, and real estate are very on the agenda on July 1st. But it's a really good Cazimi to highlight for you any area of that property, home, private life, real estate, etc., that you wish to get something good from. Without going into any depth, I'll just say Jupiter opens up financial opportunities from your second house of earnings and money, connected to how you wish to have almost like a rebirth, because Shiva, the destroyer with Mercury and the Cazimi, is what needs to be destroyed in order for something to be born again. That it's going to increase your prosperity and your finances because of that Jupiter sextile from the fourth house. So I will do a bit about that Jupiter for all signs, because I can't ignore the Jupiter sextile to the Cazimi, which is exact, unlike Saturn, which is retrograding towards more perfection, but it is not as precise, also called partile. So also opportunities financially connected to land, home, and real estate from your home, or something that could be downloaded, insightful ideas, whatever, regarding new directions with food that you eat or things that you do with your food style, because this Jupiter's in the house of things you put in your mouth. If you are a Taurus, sun, moon, and rising sign, Mercury is resetting himself in the heart of the sun to begin a new journey as the evening star. And he's doing this from your third house of siblings, local neighborhood, and online learning, online social media, websites, blogs, periodicals, things to do with your neighborhood and your neighbors, and maybe even a skills-based learning, and also writing. So you could download a new writing idea, Taurus. You could have a positive new insight or revelation around a sibling relationship, or something you wish to accomplish in your online life, or accomplish or create in your local neighborhood environment, and maybe with your neighbors or with your siblings. Or you could have a message coming through from a sibling during the Cazimi or shortly thereafter that may be a very important message for you to hear. Because we also have Juno here, to any degree that legal contracts and agreements of vows or some sort of commitment are eligible for a sibling or neighborly relationship, this could bring through some new insight about how to accomplish that. Jupiter's making you lucky. Jupiter is giving you the golden touch of Midas without the side effects of negativity. And he's giving you that hope, optimism, expansion, and luck all the way through to next May. So it is this Jupiter transit through the house of you that is opening up a wonderful doorway of opportunity that you can seize the day and grab. You are the one with the leaderful, magnanimous, big energy, and you are grabbing and making things happen. Opportunity emerges because of your own luck, charm, energy in the wake of this Cazimi, and it may be exciting and sudden because of the co-presence of Uranus. So sudden opportunities arising in third house matters in the wake of this Cazimi on July the 1st. Then we have, and it could be something as simple, to go back for a minute, it could be something as simple as travel opportunities involving siblings, because trips and travel is the third house as well. Gemini, sun, moon, and rising, especially the rising sign. In this sky, you have the energy of a new reset around communications, ideas, project, money, and selling, marketing, and possessions. Second house stuff with Mercury. He loves here to be available to buy and sell things. He is a god of marketing and selling, but he's also a communicator, and this is a house of speech. So as he goes into the heart of the sun, you may find that something around July 1st emerges in the wake of that Cazimi. It's the perfect thing you need to say to somebody, or some new opportunity a contract agreement negotiation for work and career stuff, especially with Saturn in the 10th house. This could look for some Geminis like a new work and career opportunity. Jupiter's bringing luck from foreigners, foreign lands, and foreign shores, and revenue generated from those places, as well as things you're doing in your private life or things that are happening behind the scenes. But whichever which way it goes, there's a lot of energy of luck stimulated here from that Jupiter Rahu in your 12th house. And I do want to say that with Juno here, vows of commitment could be ongoing. You may, as a Gemini, make a vow to somebody. It can be a business or love vow, and it may involve speech or writing. But the idea is you may be making agreements, contracts, or vows in the wake of this, Cazimi, for some area of your life. When we go into the class that you can take with me, I'll get into more depth about all the asteroids, and all the other star meanings and help you work through that. But there's a Shiva, the destroyer energy too. So you may also come to terms with a destruction or an end of something you eat or put in your mouth, a vape, a cigarette, wine, a food style, because this is Mercury getting divine downloads in the house of things you ingest through your mouth. And that could be a big shift around that, especially Jupiter breaking patterns of addiction from the 12th house or bad habits. Cancer, sun, moon, and rising sign. If you're a Cancer, sun, moon, or rising, this is the energy of a Cazimi, portal of new, fresh starts, destruction, and new beginnings, Shiva the destroyer. In the house of your identity, you are the one who is going through a massive destruction and rebirth of self. But with Mercury, is how you communicate that process to others, maybe, or what ideas befall you. Mercury rules the mind and ideas, and you may have a divine download yourself very directly, straight to you from this connection of the Mercury Sun Cazimi that is going to help maybe create a whole new version of you as Shiva the destroyer is capable of doing. You also could be very effective at this time regarding contracts and agreements and vows. That's Juno here that you want to make. And if you're going to do that, Jupiter says, let's make those contracts and agreements from the 11th house of good spirit. Lucky for you in terms of greater career gains, and also maybe allies and friends who want to support you as benefactors. The same applies to an elder sibling being very supportive of you in some agreements that may be forged from the July 1st Cazimi that would assist you in having greater gains from your career path. Certainly as well, I will just lightly say, not any too much, the announcer star Mirzam on Mercury in the house of you could be, what are you going to announce that is also going to be received by a friend or an elder sibling that's got a lot of positivity embedded within it. If you are a Cancer rising involved in the book publishing industry or a legal matter, things are resolving in your behalf. And that's just bringing it up because of Saturn in the 9th house. That could be a contract with an agent or a publisher or a legal matter resolving with an agreement. That's very lucky for all. If you are a Leo sun, Leo moon, and a most accurately rising sign, this is a time in which there's a reset button going on in your 12th house as a Cazimi offers divine downloads from the messenger of the gods in a house that can invite in dreams at night. This is the ideal one for meditation, trance states, dreams at night, hypnosis, and all those kinds of non-ordinary states of consciousness. So if you are a Leo rising, you might want to take advantage of that consciously on the Cazimi day of July the 1st. This is also things that are going on behind the scenes now, maybe even behind your scenes you're not aware of. This is also the 12th house where things can be about revenue generated from foreign countries and from foreigners. And therefore, there may be a new contract agreement or a negotiation coming off of this that is going to transform that kind of revenue in the wake of the Cazimi, maybe in the 2 weeks that follow. Jupiter's bringing a lot of career luck for you guys. I mean, you're going to have career luck all the way through till next year, until the 3rd week of May. And Jupiter is saying, well, whatever this is about, your career and your reputation will soar and be amplified, and maybe suddenly as a result of this Cazimi, especially if your career involves anything to do with foreign countries, foreigners, or offshore revenue. And Saturn would offer up chunky money from this Cazimi if he could. So that for some of you could look like a bit of inheritance or some kind of money payout, bonus, or commission from the work you've been doing. If you're a Virgo, sun, moon, and rising sign, you've got Mercury coming into the heart of the sun in your 11th house of good spirit, which is a very positive house. And this is a pennies from heaven, sometimes windfall, lucky breaks, friends who treat you well, benefactors, patrons, and allies. This is a house of great influence and gains in your career, sometimes fame. So Mercury in the heart of the sun can really open up a new beginning here, a new portal to something. But at the same time, Shiva the Destroyer is suggesting there's a major feeling of something is like completing so something can begin. Now, elder sibling belongs to the 11th house as well as friendship. So some of those people are maybe front and center in the wake of 2 weeks after this Cazimi. I go in with the 2 weeks because Mercury's still invisible for a while and you want him to be visible for something to show up, but the seeds are being planted in this divine download in the 11th house. Certainly you could find that agreement, contract, or negotiations can happen here regarding matters of your career and your gains, because Mercury does rule your house of 10th house of career. Jupiter's winding up some super luck in the Lakshmi lucky 9th house, which is a lucky house anyway, and lucky Jupiter, lucky Lakshmi, lucky 9th house flowing to your also lucky 11th house. It's a lot of luck for you Virgos. It could be some good news and luck and abundance coming out of this to do with academic environments, court matters, foreign countries, travel, visas, and book publishing in the wake of this Cazimi, and certainly some glow up in your significant love and relationship area of your life because of Saturn's placement in your 7th. This kind of can open up doors of new communication or social events with the one you're with that open up also a lot of luck for you and your partner, if you have one. All right, Libra, sun, moon, and rising. If you're a Libra sun, moon, and rising sign, what you've got going is a Cazimi reset in your house of career. This is literally some kind of new direction because something wants to be destroyed. Shiva, the destroyer. Mars is burning up in the heart of the sun. Mercury, and coming out the other side. So we definitely have an inception of endings and beginnings in career and purpose. And so you may not know exactly what it is right away. I mean, Mercury is invisible for a couple more weeks after the Cazimi of July 1st, but it does seem to me like something big is trying to happen in that part of your sky. With the energy of this intensity, we got a lot of love coming off of Jupiter in your chunky money, mortgages, tax rebates, grants, investment income, things to do with inheritances. So that kind of money, credit cards, bank monies, that kind of money is being very supportive of some transformational change of direction, and maybe contractually as well in your career. Maybe the end or breaking of a vow in a career space, basically not continuing, quitting your job or something like that. Or for some of you, a new job that is a transformation and a new beginning, especially with Saturn in the work house and the health house. A lot of this looks like changes in your finances that is being seeded by the Cazimi, that's also going to make changes in your work environment. Some of you will be starting new jobs after this Cazimi, and some of you will be ending old ones. Now, Scorpio. Now, if you're in the live premiere, I forgot to say this for most of these signs, please hit the like button and help the channel grow. Thank you to all my amazing regulars, the Feral Writer and Mercury with the Message and Jupiter 8 and the Crystalline Alchemist and Bold and Beautiful Tarot and Purple Table Tarot and all of you amazing souls for being in my group. All right, so now that we go ahead and talk about Scorpio, and don't forget, there is a webinar. Please come. Please at least sign up and get the real deep dive into this rather than just rely on this short blurb. I think this is a very powerful sky. Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising sign. This is a story in your sky of a new reset, beginning, divine download in the 9th house of God. This can look like an insight from your divine mind, from a spiritual teacher or guide. It can look like a new beginning when it comes to foreign countries, book publishing, foreign lands, visas, legal matters, and certainly, of course, your spiritual belief systems that belong, your spiritual philosophy that belong to the ninth house. This is a reset button for you, a new beginning, but it's very Shiva the destroyer. So, woo, something big is ending for something new to begin. Jupiter's offering a lot of luck in the house of legal agreements and contracts itself, which is the seventh. For some of you, if you're into book publishing, you're going to succeed here. If you need to get a visa or a school acceptance, you're going to succeed here. And this Cazimi opens up a doorway to some good muse-driven inspiration from that fifth house, and you may download an amazing idea as well, especially if it pertains to creativity and book publishing. Or you may, with Saturn here, have some really good action going on with a relationship that will lead you to foreign shores and lands and long-term commitment. So we're keeping it simple. Remember, I'm blowing through each sign really fast because of the Cazimi webinar, where the in-depth material will be instead. Free webinar replay available. The moon is sitting, the moon, Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising sign, especially rising. There's a reset, a Cazimi in your 8th house of other people's money. This can involve banks, and this can involve marriage partners and business partners. This can involve inheritances and also money that you make through investments. Well, this money is having a new beginning, but it's also having Shiva the destroyer here. So what is ending so something can begin? Shared resources with a spouse also looks like alimony and spousal support money is here. Maybe something is ending and beginning in that part of the sky. It's pretty powerful because of Shiva, but blessed by Mirzam and Alhena, those two stars. I think that you could be looking at this with Jupiter's placement in the 6th house as the end of a debt situation and the ability to pay off a debt or a change in a status regarding an existing financial debt. Also, an opportunity to gain financially through rental property agreements of some sort, or through a situation involving potentially land and property. And even Saturn says, yeah, I'm in the house of land and real estate owned by Jupiter. For some of you, this is a reset button, but a beginning ending here, but it may be even just as simple as a refinance on a mortgage or the closure or completion of a financing to do with property. Again, rentals are included here because of Jupiter in the 6th house. Alrighty, I hope that's useful for you. It certainly looks like it could glow you up a bit on the money, land, property, and debt situation. Are you a Capricorn? If you are, sun, moon, and rising, especially a rising sign Capricorn, this is a reset Cazimi that's happening for you in your primary long-term committed love relationship house, the 7th house. This is going to definitely have the effect of putting you on a level of new commitments, perhaps, and ending outworn ones. Because Juno, the marriage goddess, is here herself. She's probably literally about commitment levels. The Cazimi of July 1st could step you toward a more solid commitment in an existing relationship. But if you're looking for a new story and you're not alone, I would say that perhaps with Jupiter going through the romance house, it could bring a new relationship into your life in the wake of the Cazimi, let's say at least in the 2 weeks to a month that follow, or at least, well, Mercury is still in the sign of Cancer, which he's going to be doing until July 11th. This is definitely really good, though, for legal contracts and agreements that benefit you regarding entrepreneurial endeavors. And this is also a Cazimi that could open up some prosperity in your life through luck. Yeah, like the lottery. Yes, like the lottery. So pay attention to that July 1st, add 2 weeks if you are a Capricorn rising. And Saturn is supporting the idea as well as travel can develop with a romantic partner in the 2 weeks that follow this eclipse and eclipse Cazimi. And those would be very auspicious plans around trips and travel. And again, the consideration of the word commitment and deepening of it, or a new beginning for those of you who are Capricorn singletons, especially with Mercury ruling the house of dating. If you're a single Cap, take a chance and start dating July 1st onward, and download some insights from that Cazimi on my webinar. Moving to Aquarius rising, I am one of you, sun and moon secondarily. The reset button is in the house of health and work routines. you're going to have a divine download in the 6th house. You could divine download a new pet, divine download some insight around tenancies and rental properties, or have a significant death rebirth energy there. Certainly, however, this is really good for new insights into work, health, habits, and routines. Okay, you may go whoosh and have an aha on July the 1st, and you're quite capable of having an aha that can transform the way you tend to your physical wellness to avoid sickness. You may make a vow or a contract in this regard. With Saturn in your 2nd house of things you put in your mouth, helping you restrict and constrain them. And I'm going on a carnivore diet to kick one of my autoimmune conditions. This is like commitment to something that's positive with a divine contract and understanding to better your health, for example. For some of you, it might be something like quitting an addiction as well. And at the same time, Jupiter loves you up from the 4th house and says, well, what do you need to do to expand suddenly in an exciting possible expansion of your home and property? Mercury does rule the house of lottery wins. And because I got my fingers in a lottery that involves winning a home, who knows? I'll let you know. But you can have some kind of expansive luck, divine downloads around contracts, agreements, rentals, property, land, and even money luck contributing to that in the 2 weeks that follow this Cazimi, or even in the month that follows, because we're allowing for Mercury to become a visible planet again. First and always first, Pisces, sun, moon, and rising sign. This is a Cazimi that's in Cancer, which is a flow of a water trine from your romantic and sexual house. Now, your children are here, conception, fertility is here, creative projects you are here, writing, painting, performing. It's a great house for all of that. You could divine download a new creative project. You can have a deep insight or divine download about romantic love, sexuality, sexual love. You may connect more deeply with a child as a result of this reset button here. And this is occurring, of course, July 1st. You want to give it 2 to 3 weeks after for it to fulfill itself. Lotteries go here. Lottery wins, gaming wins, speculative money wins. Mercury rules games of chance. So you could be having a win here as well. The Cazimi could set that in motion. You may be winning also with a partner of some sort because of Juno in this part of the sky, love or business partners. And I think that Jupiter is saying, hey, you can also benefit from education and travel and short distance travel, educational openings, and also things to do with leisure and romantic travel. July 1st at 2 or 3 weeks, because that Cazimi opens up that gateway of leisure travel, 5th house, and short distance travel, 3rd house, from a house of romance. And if you're an entrepreneur, then as a Pisces, this could open up some lusciousness in your online entrepreneurial endeavors as well. And I think Saturn here, who's giving you the Saturnian treatment until 2026 in your Pisces 1st house, is more or less saying that you're holding the responsibility and the integrity and the realism in the story of what this is about, but you're flowing with it. You're going, I'll go with it. I'll do that. I'll go with it. You may be looking at some opportunity from a sibling coming through this part of the sky as well. Siblings belong to the 3rd house, and it may involve some prosperity or some luck or some creativity or some travel. All of those are possible. And it may even connect a little bit to real estate, because Mercury is the lord of your 4th house of land, property, and real estate. All right, I hope that's useful. This is just kind of a teaser for the longer 75-minute webinar that I'm teaching on July 1st. It's not just instructive and lecture-y with slides, which it has some of that. It's also guiding you. I'm going to do a guided meditation. It is Cazimi Day, and we're going to go into that meditation together to really invoke some of these powers that are in the chart, like Minerva, the asteroid of wisdom and knowledge, like Shiva, the destroyer. Don't be afraid of him. All right, like Salacia, like White Moon, even Selene. All right, thanks for listening. I will be hopefully seeing a lot of you on the webinar on Saturday, July the 1st. And if you're still in the premiere with me live and you haven't yet hit my like button, please help me out and let's get this channel to grow to my unrealistic goal of 100,000 by the end of this year. But I am growing by 3,000 or 3,500 subs a month right now. And so I can at least get a good stretch of the way towards my goal this year. So thanks for helping me out, guys. Have a wonderful day. Ciao, ciao.